Boys, today, as you can see, we got another tier list. We're gonna do the current most violent UFC fighter tier list. As you can see at the top, we have the most violent. There can only be one guy here for the most violent. Then we have very violent, violent, not very violent. Then the least violent. Once again, only one person can go here for least violent. And right now, I got about just under 50 different fighters from different divisions. We're gonna see where they go here. And I'm not gonna lie, it was hard to pick, who I wanted to go here. Plus, I wanted to make this video like a weekish ago, but I decided to wait until UFC 308 because, spoiler alert, we got the boy Ilya Topuria here. And, I needed to see how he fought at UFC 300 before I can accurately put him where he belongs. But let's start off. This is in random order, completely random. We're starting off with the boy Volkanovski. Now, Volkanovski, there's a lot of pictures going around where before and after fighting Volkanovski, pretty much every time you fight Volkanovski, your face is completely different. Am I saying he's one of the most violent guys on this list? No, but for now, we'll put him like towards the end of very violent. He could easily go down just to the current violent roster just because there's a lot of like killers on this list. But for now, we'll keep him at very violence. Keep going down. We have Giga. To be honest, as of recently, I'm also taking this as of like a whole because this is the current roster. I have to think of this like recently Giga hasn't been very violent, So for right now, we're putting these two here because like I said, there can only be one guy in each category. And right now, Volk is the most violent. Giga is the least violent. I don't think he's that violent. He hasn't shown much violentness recently in his past few performances, and I have to take the whole career into consideration. Let's keep moving down. We got Bam Bam Tuivasa here. Now Tuivasa, it's always ending in a finish. We have to think of, we can't just think of the losing streak. We also have to think of how he gets it done violently with a pretty much 99% time it's a flatline KO. We'll put him at violent. I still think Volkanovski is a slightly more violent than Tuivasa, but we'll keep him at very violent for right now. Let's go down. Brandon Moreno. Brandon Moreno, he's probably one of the most violent flyweights that we have. Now, is it crazy to put him over someone like a Tuivasa? I don't know. I can't think of like a not violent Moreno fight, but I can think of a few non-violent, Tai Tuivasa fights. So I'm going to put Moreno above Tai Tuivasa as of right now. Let's go down. Ian Gary. I don't think Ian Gary is all that violent to be promoted into the very violent, He can have some stinkers here and there. It's not like he's constantly going out here, putting his opponent on the back foot and just being like a Volkanovski or Moreno. He can be timid, I'm keeping him in the violent section, but I don't think he deserves to be in the very violent section, but we'll just put him at violent. He doesn't deserve to go all the way down here. We'll put him right here for now. Then Brian Ortega. To be honest, Brian Ortega might be one of the least violent UFC high level fighters, like top 10, top 15 fighters there is. Like I'm trying to think, other than a Frankie Edgar, I don't know. I might be dogging this boy too much, but I just don't see the violenceness. I'll keep Giga down here. I think I'm dogging T-City a little bit too much because yes, his fights are always wars, It's not like he's always out here on like a point fest type of thing. Might have to bump him up. I think he's a violent guy. I think I'm bumping him up. I think at first I was a little bit too hard on T-City, but as a further inspection, this boy's game moved up. Let's go down to a champion here. Where do I put Pantoja? Probably equal. I'll put him slightly below. I'm gonna put him below Bam Bam because to be honest, as he's been champion, he's been a little bit less violent, a little bit point heavy, little decision machine here, so I'm docking points for that. But as a whole, on the come up, this guy was one of the most violent, flyweights we had. But we got a new person for the most violent. Of course, that's gonna be Pereira. Pereira has a good chance of beating the most violent guy on this list. I'm not gonna lie, he has a good argument to be in there, but I haven't fully decided if he's gonna be the most violent just yet. Let's keep moving down. We gotta put Charles Oliveira as one of the most violent guys in this tier list. The nasty knees he was landing on Poirier with a tie clinch. Every fight, just a violent fight. He makes it dirty. He can do it on the ground and on the feet. One of the most violent guys we have on this list. Let's go down. Rogelio. Rogelio is also one of these very violent fighters. Very rarely do we see him going point heavy, trying to get a decision. It always ends viciously. We saw what he did with Jared Cannonier. RIP my boy Jared Cannonier. I think we put him... I'm trying not to think of like the size, you know, I'm trying to keep it all relatively the same, but I might have to put Brohalio over Moreno. But that might also just be me thinking, you know, Moreno is a little flyweight compared to this guy, but we're keeping it here for now. So go down, Cyril Gane. I don't think he's all that violent, to be honest. I mean, he's violent when it comes to the back of the headshots. We'll put him at the top of violence, you know. To be honest, I don't see a lot of people going in this not very violent category. There's gonna be a few, but I don't think there's gonna be a lot. Let me see if I can quickly find someone to put there. To be honest, I don't see many to put in that not very... You know what? Do I put Strickland at not very violent? I think I put Strickland at not very violent. You know, if we're talking about press conference leading up version of Strickland, he's the most violent, but in the fight he's very point heavy, he's just the complete opposite of the talking he does in the octagon. So he's not very violent in my opinion. There's an argument to be made these boys get switched around, but I'll keep it here just for now. Maybe towards the end we'll do some fine tuning, but right now that's where it's going. And you know, just for right now, because I see him right here, Ilya Topuria, I don't know who to put. So I'm going to keep these two here to the very end, and then I'll make up my mind. Because I haven't made up my mind yet. It's a very tough thing to pick. I don't know right now. So we're keeping these two here. Let's keep moving down. Corey Sandhagen. Corey Sandhagen's a pretty violent dude. Okay, I think we put him over Pantoja. I think we drop Pantoja just to the violent category, to be honest. I think we bump up Tai Tuivasa. Tai Tuivasa I'm keeping towards the end only because, like, the only violence coming from Tai Tuivasa is the knockout, where we have Corey Sandhagen, we have all the other guys, you know, they can do everything to make this violence. You know, it doesn't have to be a one-shot knockout type of thing to keep it violent. So Tai Tuivasa arguably could go just violent. I'll keep him very violent for right now. I'm lying. I convinced myself just to put him at violence. And then stacking up against these guys, yeah, it's crazy because, you know, Cyril Gane knocked out Tai Tuivasa. Do we put him over Tai Tuivasa? I think we do. I think this is fine for now. For now, this is fine. Dan Ige, you know, I think the aura of Dan Ige helps a lot, so we're going to move him. Because how many people, realistically, is Brohalio stepping up short notice? 4 hours short notice? I don't know if he does. I think Volkanovski does. So right now, Dan Ige is going right there. Then, I believe this guy's name is the God of War. He's again, one of the more violent guys we have here. I think we put him just above Dan Ige. Just below Volkanovski. I think this is a good spot for him. He's always in wars. Always a very violent fighter. Never really going just off points. We saw him first guy to drop Chito Vera, so one of the more violent guys we have in the UFC. Let's go down. Diego Lopez obviously right up here with these guys. I think we put him on par, or even I think we put him above. Do we put him above Volkanovski? No, I don't think he's earned the spot to go above Volkanovski just yet, but it's possible. Let's keep moving down. JDM is violent, but it's not to the level of violence as the very violent category. Like, I don't think I can put him above someone like a Sandhagen, to be honest, but I can put him above the rest of these guys. Jamal Hill, he's violent and all. I'll put him, I don't know where to put Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill is such a weird one, to be honest. Do we put him like above these guys? I think we do. This is a weird fighter to rank in the violence section, because I don't know. I'm trying to be a little bit more picky of who I put in the very violent section, because I don't want to overcrowd that one. Keep moving down. Yair Rodriguez. I've never been that high on Yair Rodriguez, to be honest, and I don't think he's all that violent. I can't put him in not violent, because not violent, that's not right. I'll put him at the very end of violence. Pretty much everyone is gonna pass up Rodriguez, in my opinion, but we'll see as it goes down. Polish Power Man, he's violent, but it's not like he's going out here and he's doing craziness, unless it's someone like Dominic Reyes. And when it's a Dominic Reyes, you expect that shit to happen. I don't think he's all that violent, to be honest. I think he's same with like Strickland. The build up, he's talking about how he has a Polish power, you know, the suicide rope that he has giving him extra strength. It doesn't show that much in fights. I don't think he's all that violent, to be honest. Go down. Jared Cannonier. Jared Cannonier's pretty violent, you know, but at the end of the day, it's not. He's also a hard guy to rank. I'm gonna put him. Is he not violent? I'm trying to think. No, he definitely deserves to be in this violent role. I'll put him above Yair Rodriguez. Maybe no, I can't put him above T-City, but above Yair. Let's go down. Probably the next most violent guy, Prochazka. This guy, if you think of violence and just crazy striking, Yuri Prochazka is that guy. He could be the most violent, you know, he deserves to go up here, but I think these two are just a little bit ahead of Yuri Prochazka. Then we got Islam. Islam is a very violent fighter. Where do we put him though? I don't know if I can put him above Volkanovski. By the end of the day, you know, Makhachev has had his wars here and shown the violence that he could have. I don't know if I put him over Volk though, because Volk, you know, we see the before and after faces. I mean, the same thing with Makhachev, but we saw the before and after faces when these two fought each other for the first time. I'm gonna put him just slightly below Volk. Justin Gaethje, one of the most violent guys on this list, you know, constantly in these wars, probably right there next to Yuri, to be honest. I would say, yeah, he's shown more violence than the rest of these guys, if that makes sense. Chimaev, again, one of the... Do we put him over Yuri? No. I think, again, one of the most violent guys that we have. And it's not just, like, with the hands. He's one of the rare guys that we see the violence with the wrestling. So, I'll put him below Gaethje, but the things that he did to Robert Whittaker, that was violence. He just destroyed that boy's jaw, but keep moving down. Kai Kara France. Kai Kara France probably... You know, I can't take the one-shot knockout over Steve Ercik. I can't take that into considering too much, considering that's just one fight. Yes, he has a bunch of first-round finishes. Again, it's the same thing with the JDM story. I think I put him above JDM at the very top of violent and could arguably go into very violent, but we'll keep him here for now. Again, towards the end, we'll do some fine-tuning, but Manel Kape, as of recently, has not been violent one bit. And I'm so tempted to put him in the least violent, you know? Before, I had so much hype for this guy, but as of recently, he's like a Strickland. You know, lots of talk, build-up in the fight, not so much. Go down. Peter Yan, again, I think Peter Yan deserves to be in very violent. I think he deserves to be above an Ige, maybe. On par with these two, you know? When these guys do fight, we'll see who deserves to go over each other, and we'll see if they deserve to be bumped up. But as of right now, I think Figgy is just slightly more violent than someone like a Yan. Going down, Michael Chandler, nothing but violence with this guy when he fights. Now, where do we put him? I think he deserves to be in very violent, but maybe I think he would come up short notice. You know, I think he'd be someone like a Dan Ige. Come up short notice. Now this boy's constantly moving forward. We have to put that's some like retard violence right there. But do we do him over Volk? Like, the Volk is a standard, you know, in very violence, and I don't think he goes past Volk. Next up, Paulo Costa. Paulo Costa isn't that violent, you know. Yes, he has wars, but people think this guy has like one-shot knockout ability. Not really. I think he's on par with someone like a Jamal Hill. Then we got the big Russian guy. You know, follows the same path point with these fat heavyweights. You know, he has that one-shot knockout power, but other than that, you know, we saw Volkov just school this guy pretty much. So I'm gonna put him right here. Song Yadong, again, one of the more violent guys that we have in this lower weight class. He's about even with someone like a Sanhagen, in my opinion, at least. I'll keep him in the very violent spot because I think he deserves that. Again, I think we have to... For Dan Hooker, you know, we have to put him against someone like a Volkanovski. Violence versus violence. Is he more violent than someone like a Volkanovski? And when I think of it, you know, has Volkanovski really had that gritty down violence versus violence type of fight where Dan Hooker did against Dustin Poirier? I don't think he has. So I'm going to put him above Volkanovski. Then the Black Beast, same thing, you know. I think he's more consistent with his one-shot knockouts, even though he's lost. So I think every single one of these guys, I'll put him above them all. Violence for violence. I'll put him even above Jamal Hill. Fuck it, above Paulo Costa as well. Do we put him in very violent though? I think we have to. Dustin Poirier. You know, Dustin Poirier on par with someone like a Volkanovski. Do I put him above a Volkanovski? You know, Volkanovski's the standard right now. Do I put him above him is a question. I think this is perfect. I think it's a perfect one right here. We'll come towards the end of this and redo these real quick. John Jones, he's violent. He's violent. Some dirty tactics here. Eye pokes, you know. He's violent. Do we put him over Volkanovski? He might be one of the more violent guys. There, you know, I hate to say it, but he might be one of the more violent guys. We'll put him above Gaethje, you know. Jose Aldo, it's hard to pick Jose Aldo after seeing him get like hugged up against the cage. He'll be top of violent for now. Josh Emmett has that one-shot knockout, but other than that, what else, you know, is there? We'll keep him here. Aspinall, where do we put Aspinall? Probably towards here, maybe above them, because I'm thinking there's a bunch of first round knockouts or like submissions. He's a finisher. I'll put him below Islam for right now. Then Sean O'Malley by far the most violent like bantamweight we have, so easily above all the rest. I think we put him over these guys. That knee he landed on Cheeto is disgusting. I'll keep him below Makhachev for right now. Shara I'll put Shara at the top of violent. You know, other than his knockout he did just recently at 308, I haven't been that impressed with him. Then we got Cheeto, I think we put him like someone on par with a Peter Yan. So let's quickly run through these guys. So right now I have Giga as the least violent. I think right around here is good. I think violent. Do I need to move anyone around for the violent section? Maybe we put Josh Emmett above Cheeto. Maybe I think it's looking all right so far. Do we put TCD over Ian Gary? I don't think so. I think this is looking good. Maybe I put your boy the Killer Gorilla over. I think I put the Killer Gorilla over both these guys, to be honest. Very violent. This is where I think a lot of things can get mixed up. Very violent. Derek Lewis. I think Derek Lewis is a perfect example of just on the cusp of very violent. Song Yudong, good here. Sanhagen, I don't have a problem being here. Moreno, don't have a problem. Brohalio, good. Dan Ige. I think Dan Ige is good here. These two, like I said, good here. I think this is the part where I start, you know, not really knowing. Am I putting too much disrespect on Tom Aspinall? That's the question. I will put Tom Aspinall. I'm going to move Tom Aspinall a little bit higher up. I can't put him over Islam. And I can't... Do I think Sean O'Malley is more violent than these two? I can't say I do. I think this is good now. Chandler, Poirier, Volk. Then we got Hooker, Charles... I think it's looking good. Now the question is, boys, what the fuck do we do with Pereira and Topuria? Now, the thinking I'm going with right now, hear me out, because I'm thinking, you know, hands for hands, to be honest, they have pretty equal levels of power per, like, body weight, if that makes sense. You know, Topuria is fucking knocking out someone like a Max Holloway, which I have no idea why Max Holloway isn't on this list. Definitely be in that very violent section, but they have like equal power per body weight, if that makes sense, you know. Ilia Topuria is knocking out people that he shouldn't be knocking out. Same thing with Pereira. The thing is, Topuria has that ground and pound aspect. He can take you to the ground and just ground and pound you out. Submission, he's more well-rounded. So that's why I'm putting him the most violent out of all these guys. Let me know in the comments below. What do you guys think of this tier list? One of the longer ones we've done on this channel. And yeah, do you agree that Ilia Topuria, the most violent, Giga, the least violent? Let me know in the comments below. Now, when I say the least violent, all of these guys are violent, but just stacked up to each other. All of these guys are the most violent guys in the UFC. I'm just mad I don't have Max Holloway here, to be honest. If I did have Max Holloway, I would probably put him above Gaethje, below John. I think is a good place for him. And again, let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think of this video? And also quickly look at this shit real quick. 99% of you guys watch this shit for free. Your boy's on that goal to get to 1,000 subscribers. So if you have not yet, leave a like on this video and subscribe with those post notifications turned on so you never miss any of my rare videos. With all that being said, boys, there's really not that much else left to say except for I will see you guys in my next video.